All right, so there's a brand new open model called GLM-5.2. And open here means you can literally download it and run it yourself. Take a look at this particular chart, right? It just went toe to toe with the best closed models on the planet and also landed within 1% of the single best coding model out there. It is MIT licensed and it treats a million tokens at once. But the benchmarks aren't even the interesting part. The interesting part is actually how a model this big can stay this cheap to run. And honestly, it comes down to some genuinely clever engineering, like the kind of thing that's actually worth geeking out over. Oh, and stick around because later I'm gonna actually put this thing to work, build a whole app from a single line, and hand it a 99-page financial report to dig out one number buried inside. So we'll see this in action. Now, let me talk about how this actually works. If you think about this, every few weeks, somebody says that this is the best model now, right? And usually it just means bigger. Now, this one is a bit different because it didn't win by throwing more compute at the wall. It actually won on efficiency. So let me walk you through three important things here. How it actually thinks, how it handles a massive amount of text without failing over, and then the third one is one quiet trick that makes the whole thing so cheap to run. That last one is my favorite, okay? A real quick disclaimer, all opinions are my own and do not belong to my employer. And to be clear, this is absolutely not sponsored. I'm not affiliated with z.ai and nobody's paying me to do this, okay? All right, so let's see what's actually inside this thing, okay? So first up, when you type a word in, it doesn't run through the whole model. It hits this, a router. And the router's whole job is to look at your word and go, okay, who's the right person for this? Because inside this isn't one giant brain. It's split into hundreds of little specialists. They're calling them experts. So one's good at code and one at grammar, one at math, right? And here's the part that matters. For any single word, the router only wakes up a handful of them, maybe two or three. The rest just sit there asleep. So on paper, this thing has over 700 billion moving parts, but for each word, it's only really using about 40 billion of them. So that's the first key trick. You get the brains of a huge model, but you only pay for the small slice that actually does the work. Pretty clever. Now, the second thing, right? And this one kind of blew my mind. This model can read a million tokens at once. That's like handing it a whole stack of books and it goes, yep, I got all of it. But there's a problem nobody warns you about. Normally, for a model to understand context, every word has to check in with every other word, right? Short sentence, no big deal. But a million words, the number of those little check-ins explodes. That's what makes long context stupidly expensive. So here is the move, and they borrowed this from DeepSeek. Before all that expensive checking, a tiny cheap helper scans everything first and goes, you only actually need these three. And the real work only happens on those three, right? So it's basically a librarian. You can think of it like that. Instead of making you read the whole library to answer one question, the librarian will hand over you the 3 pages you need. Same answer, but then tiny fraction of the work. That's how it reads a million tokens without the cost blowing up. All right, so that was the second thing. And now the third thing, and this is the actual headline, the part that makes this whole thing work, right? So that librarian we just met, here's the thing. This model isn't one layer deep. It is stacked dozens of layers high. And normally you would run that librarian again at every single layer. Same question, which words matter, over and over, top to bottom, right? But you can already imagine and assume like this is wasteful. So here is a new trick that they have applied. This is called index share. And is now when you think about this, is dead simple, right? Run the librarian once on the first of every 4 layers and then reuse the librarian picks for the next three. 3 out of 4 times that work just disappears. And that's about 3 times less work per word at full context. 2.9 times to be exact. That's it. That's the whole reason a model this big stays this cheap to run. It's not a flashy benchmark thing. This is really an efficiency trick. And honestly, that's the part I think is genuinely cool. Okay. So I want to show you one chart because it's basically the whole video in a single picture. This is how fast the model runs as you feed it more and more text. The old version is just one color. GLM 5.2 is the other. At short lengths, basically tight, but watch what happens as the context gets longer. 5.2 just pulls away. At a million tokens, it's running about 7 times faster. And see those little stubs near the bottom? That's the old model literally tapping out. It cannot even go past 200,000 tokens. And that gap right there, that's index share doing its job. That is what is winning on efficiency actually looks. A model that keeps running long after the others have fallen over. So, how good this really is, let me be straight with you. Now, this is z.ai's own scorecard. Two honest takeaways here. One, GLM 5.2 really crushes its previous versions across the board, a real leap, right? And two, I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Anthropic's 4.08 still wins most of these. GLM closes the gap, it doesn't leap past the very top. And here's the thing that reframes all of this, right? The cost. Running GLM 5.2 is about a sixth the price of GPT 5.5. And it's a model you can run yourself with nobody else holding the keys. So the real question isn't, is this the absolute best? It's, is it most of the way there for a fraction of the price with no lock in? And for a lot of people, that may be yes, right? But charts only go as far, right? So let me actually show you what this thing can do. First, I will do the easy stuff, one sentence, build me a landing page, and then we'll upload like a PDF of an annual report and we'll see how it performs. Okay. So let me just show you that. All right. So there are a few different ways to go ahead and use GLM 5.2. One is the open router way, which is where open router provides you access to all types of different open models. But then, of course, there is a direct way, which is chat.z.ai. And you can see that all the different models are over here and 5.2 is available. What I observed was 5.2 tends to be really busy right now, and this is also like free of cost. So you may not be able to experience it, but give it a shot. It's absolutely free of cost. What I did for this demo was I actually went to Open Router. So here you can actually select for GLM 5.2, and you can come here and you can see that they have clearly defined the input and output price, token price per million. The context side is 1 million, and then the release date is June 16th. And here there are a few ways to actually go ahead and try it out. So one is the quick start, and this is for you to be able to use it via an API. So these are all the details that are over there. And then the other one is Playground. So you can click on this chat room button, and this is where you get a lot of additional controls as well. So you can click on this one, and then you have all of this advanced settings. So you can enable the reasoning, you can make the reasoning effort to minimal or low, whatever, right? Depending on how much time and tokens you want to give it, you are welcome to do that. So what I did was in preparation for this, I actually gave this simple prompt, right? Build a self-contained HTML file and for a fictional AI note-taking app called Lumen and sticky navigation, a hero with an animated gradient background and two CTAs. So what it was able to do was it was able to build this pretty quickly. So you can see the kind of experience that it was built. And this is what I saw, right? And there's a little bit of an animation here, which is what I had asked for it, right? So it's pretty cool. And of course, like this is not something which is out of the box, but what is out of the box could be something like this, right? So this is the Alphabet annual report. You can see that this is like 99 pages long. So what I also asked it to do was to actually give me a response out of this. So what I will do is right now upload this in front of you. So I'm just uploading this. So I'm going to ask this particular question that this is Alphabet's 99 page 10K. Find the exact figure for total revenues for the full year. Tell me which page it's on and quote the sentence around it and list the specific risk factors that they name related to AI, right? Now, this is the open model working against a really long and large PDF file, right? So that's what I want to show you. You can already see that it has started working. So, and there you go, right? So you can see the answer already here. And the exact figure is this. It's on page 32, item 7. I'm going to verify this as well and quoted sentence is this. And that these are the risk factors, right? And this is again, like this is open model. And let's just make sure that we verify this. So first of all, let's look at this particular number. Let's go to page 32. And this is the number, right? So first of all, the revenue is absolutely correct. And it has highlighted this from page 32, right? So this is page 32 perfectly, right? And this is the sentence. which was mentioned over there. I would say that this is pretty solid, right? And it was able to actually go through this entire 99 page document in a fraction, in a really fraction of seconds, right? And also like a fraction of cost. Again, this is an open model, and that's the focus here. So just wanted to show you like both aspects of this, right? So I want to talk about few of my observations before we close this, right? So number one, this is obviously a text only model, right? So there's no images, no vision, right? So if your work involves creating images, videos, and all those kind of things, then this is not it, not yet, right? So that's number one and very important. The other one that I observed is it's when you look at this, right? That's where I was showing you the settings and stuff like that. So if I go back here, it's a pretty heavy thinker. That's what I understood, right? It can burn a lot of tokens just chewing on a single task. So if you have to make sure you, based on what is the task that you're giving, you enable the reasoning, etc., based on what you like, right? And the third one is wild because the team admitted themselves, right, that the harder they trained it, the more it tried to cheat, which is very interesting. So like on coding tests, it would go hunt for hidden answer files or just curl the solution straight off the internet. So they literally had to build like a guard to catch this, right? And I honestly like respect that they published it. So make sure that you have all of those like guardrails in place. And obviously this is like not a laptop thing, right? So for a full model, this is about 1.5 TB and needs a serious GPU. And that's why I had to use like an open router because I don't have that kind of machine with me, right? But none of that really kills it, but it just means that you need to be clear, right? So that was GLM 5.2 for you. I hope this helps and gives you knowledge about the latest open model out there. I would recommend give it a shot and try it for yourself and see if for some of the use cases this works and this helps, right? Let me know if you have any questions. As always, I'll do my best to answer those. And if you're new here, if you like the video, please hit that like button. And of course, if you're existing as well, please do let me know your views via the like button as well. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.